Hi everyone, I'm Axel Ward, and the last video I kind of said it at the end, but I wasn't totally happy with the way the terrain generation system worked out. It didn't really have the extendability that I wanted it to. Getting it to be able to render overhangs or caves or that kind of thing would have been an absolute pain. So instead of fighting with that down the road when things are harder to change, I thought the best thing to do would be to get it working properly now. So that's what this video is pretty much all about. It'll be on to tackling the marching cubes algorithm to get it to render the way I want it to. So I'm excited, nervous, and ready to learn all at the same time. So let's get into it. Okay, so today, for the latter half of my day, I worked on some multi-threading stuff. It was my first time doing anything with threads, so I had to do quite a bit of research on how those actually worked. But I think I figured it out pretty well. But yeah, learning how to thread things was really fun and really interesting, but definitely a huge challenge and huge learning experience. But that's what I'm here to do, is just learn a ton, and couldn't be happier with what I've been learning so far today. So I'm gonna take the rest of the evening off and probably start on actually implementing marching cubes tomorrow. Okay, so it's now Tuesday, and Tuesday, yeah? Not Wednesday. Oh no. Okay, so it's now Wednesday. There's a little bit of funkiness that happens whenever a chunk is being loaded on a different thread and then immediately unloads right when it finishes getting generated. So I'm going to work on fixing that little bit of bugginess today and making sure that it's not wasting processing time on chunks that are immediately getting unloaded. But yeah, for now, I'm going to just get started on programming some of that threading stuff. Super fun, but gotta get it done. Okay, so it is now Wednesday afternoon, and I have spent a good chunk of time finishing up the chunk generation job queue stuff. So now it will only run one chunk generation job and one chunk mesh job at a time, so it's not going to be generating like 80 threads at a time, so that should help a lot with performance of generation. I still have a couple issues with the job unloading, so if chunks go out of bounds before they are loaded, then it has a little bit of an issue with taking those jobs out of the queue. But for today, I'm pretty happy that I was actually able to get those job queues created for the most part. Right now it is painfully slow creating the mesh, but I'm hoping that once I implement the marching cubes, it's a little bit more efficient. Only time will really tell with how well it runs. So I'm gonna call it for the day here, but I'm excited to continue working tomorrow. Okay, it's now Thursday morning, and this morning I spent just a little bit of time doing some research and some reading up on marching cubes algorithm. I am not sure that the chunk generation system that I have in place right now is what it's going to be in the end. So today I'm going to focus on getting the marching cubes algorithm implemented. The first thing that I'm going to need to do is create a sample scene, and then I'm going to need to do some research on some 3D Perlin noise. I want to get that so that way I have a pretty good like sample of overhangs, caves, that kind of stuff for the marching cubes algorithm, make sure it all looks correct, and then it'll be on to implementing marching cubes. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot to do, but it's It's very exciting. Alrighty, it's now Thursday night, and I have a pretty nice little system for doing marching cubes and generating them. It might not be totally finished. I might want to add the ability to make different colored voxels or that kind of thing, but I'm not totally sure yet. Now I have a really good way to do terrain generation. In this clip, you can kind of see where there is a little bit of an overhang and where you can actually see the surface from the underside. So that is really cool. Obviously the generation is not perfect. There's still a lot to do in terms of terrain generation, but having the marching cubes part of it done means that now I can test that terrain generation without having to work on the way that it's rendered at all or anything like that. I really need to go back through the chunk rendering and loading system and rework that a little bit. It's not even close to finished, and it's kind of the next big step in terms of terrain generation. I ended up pulling the triangulation table offline because it didn't feel worth it to go through and calculate all those by hand when it's already out there. So I will leave a reference to the paper that I used to find that in the description below. I'm getting really close. I'm getting very excited. And yeah, I couldn't be more pleased with the solution that I've come up with marching cubes. So yeah, I'll look forward to getting back to work tomorrow. Okay, it's now Friday, and I have gotten marching cubes talking with the terrain generation system. There's a little bit of an issue where the space in between chunks isn't getting marched because there's no way for it to see both of the voxels on either chunk that it's not checking. So I just need to mess with that a little bit, but for today I'm going to call it there. I have some plans with friends and family this evening, so I'm just going to take the rest of the afternoon off and start working again either tomorrow or Sunday. So I'll probably call it there for this video, but I want to say thank you so much for watching, and please like it and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.